Number 15. Latvia. Did you know that in some countries, millions of women struggle to find a partner simply because there are too few men? Why is there such a severe shortage of men? Let's explore 15 countries with large numbers of single women and the surprising stories behind the statistics. Latvia, a small country on the Baltic Sea, begins the story with a figure that surprises many people. At the beginning of 2025, there were as many as 116 women for every 100 men in Latvia. Women made up about 53.1% of the population, around 15% more than men, creating the largest gender gap in the European Union. This imbalance becomes even more pronounced as the population ages. After age 65, there are only about 53 men for every 100 women. A major reason lies in the life expectancy gap between the two sexes. Latvian women live an average of 10.1 years longer than men, the largest difference in the entire European Union. This means that the gender imbalance does not exist only on paper but also directly affects the lives of many families. Behind the statistics is the reality that many women must spend the final years of their lives without a partner by their side. In addition to attracting attention for its unusual population structure, Latvian women are also known for the distinctive beauty of the Baltic region, where classic Northern European features blend with modern style. They are often tall and slender, with fair skin, high cheekbones, and sharply defined faces. Their hair may range from bright blonde to chestnut brown, while their blue or gray eyes are often compared to the color of the Baltic Sea. The beauty of Latvian women is not overly showy, but stands out through its natural, elegant, and well-balanced qualities. Their fashion style is often minimalist, yet polished and refined. In the way they walk and communicate, many display calmness, grace, and a quiet confidence. Number 14. Estonia. Estonia, a small country in the northern Baltic region, stands out not only because women outnumber men, but also because of the significant education gap between the two sexes. About 74% of young Estonian women have a college degree, while the figure for men is only around 56%. This makes Estonia one of the countries with a notable gender education gap in the European Union. In other words, Estonian women have an advantage in both numbers and educational attainment, while the number of men with comparable qualifications is clearly lower. Women currently make up about 53.3% of Estonia's total population of nearly 1.2 million. This imbalance does not appear only in statistical tables, but is also clearly visible in places where men regularly leave home to work at sea. The clearest example is Kihnu Island, a place protected by UNESCO for its unique cultural values. For generations, the island's men often spent months at sea, while the women remained behind and took responsibility for most family and community work. They cared for children, managed farms, organized festivals, maintained religious life, and passed traditions on to the next generation. As a result, visitors often refer to Kihnu by the striking name, the Kingdom of Women. This is not merely a nickname intended to attract tourists, but also a reflection of the enduring role of women who have grown accustomed to carrying responsibility and keeping the community functioning while the men are away. Kihnu is like a miniature example of how life changes when women become the main force sustaining family, culture, and society. Number 13. Belarus. Belarus has one of the most notable gender imbalances in Eastern Europe. The country has about 4.84 million women, but only 4.22 million men. This means women outnumber men by approximately 616,000, equivalent to the population of a mid-sized European city. Women make up about 53.4% of the population, meaning there are only around 87 men for every 100 women. At this rate, Belarus ranks among the countries with the highest proportions of women in the world. This imbalance does not result only from the number of children born, but develops mainly as the population grows older. Belarusian women have an average life expectancy of about 78 years, while men live an average of only around 68 years. This 1.0-year gap causes women to increasingly outnumber men in older age groups. From the perspective of family life, this means that many women may have to spend a long period of old age without a partner by their side. Belarusian women are also widely represented in fields such as science, healthcare, and education. They are often described as educated, hardworking, serious, and capable of balancing their careers with family life. However, when men are outnumbered by hundreds of thousands, finding a suitable partner can become more difficult, especially for women hoping to meet someone with a similar educational background and outlook on life. Belarusian women often have softly shaped oval faces, fair and smooth skin, and hair ranging from light blonde to warm brown. Their large, expressive eyes are often blue, gray, or green, while their gently defined cheekbones create an elegant, feminine appearance. Number 12. Lithuania. Lithuania is the third Baltic country to appear on the list, and it also contributes to the region's unusual demographic pattern. Lithuanian women live about 9 years longer than men, alongside the 10.1-year gap in Latvia and the 8.8-year gap in Estonia. The three Baltic countries have some of the largest life expectancy gaps between men and women in the European Union, nearly twice the regional average of about 5 years. What is notable is that this gap does not necessarily exist because Lithuanian women have an especially high life expectancy. The country's average life expectancy is only about 77.6 years, below the European Union average of 81.4 years. The main reason is believed to be that Lithuanian men often die earlier because of several factors related to lifestyle and working conditions. Dangerous jobs, frequent alcohol consumption, heavy smoking, and a tendency to postpone medical checkups all contribute to reducing male life expectancy. The habit of seeing a doctor only after an illness has become serious causes many health problems to go undetected and untreated in time. Over the years, this difference creates a clear gap in the population structure, especially among older age groups. Behind the 9-year figure is the reality that many Lithuanian women may spend nearly the final decade of their lives without a partner by their side. Lithuanian women have a beauty that lies between the coolness of Northern Europe and the warmth of Central Europe. Their hair often ranges from dark blonde to chestnut brown or amber, recalling the famous gold of the Baltic Sea. Their faces tend to be softer than those of Latvian women, with rounded cheekbones, full lips, and hazel, gray, or green eyes. They are often tall but not overly slender, with balanced, healthy, and approachable figures instead. Number 11. Portugal. Portugal is one of the longest-standing and most persistent cases of gender imbalance on the list. The country's population data began to be recorded in 1864, and in every year since then, the number of women has always been higher than the number of men. More than 160 years have passed without this trend ever being reversed, making the gender gap a quiet but clear part of Portugal's social history. Today, the country has about 5.46 million women and 4.97 million men. This means women outnumber men by nearly 500,000, equivalent to about 91 men for every 100 women. The reason for this imbalance is preserved in the family albums of many generations of Portuguese people. For more than a century, many men left their homeland in search of work and better opportunities in Brazil, France, Switzerland, and many other countries. While the men traveled far away, women often stayed behind to care for their homes, raise their children, and maintain family life. Many had to carry these responsibilities on their own for years, while waiting for their husbands or relatives to return. Even when the men came back home, women often outlived them, causing the gender gap to continue widening among older age groups. Therefore, the fact that women outnumber men in Portugal is not the result of a short-term change, but was shaped by generations of labor migration and differences in life expectancy. Number 10. Hungary. Hungary is one of the European countries facing a situation in which women outnumber men, while the population is also aging and the birth rate is declining. The country has about 0.3 million women but only around 4.65 million men. This means women outnumber men by approximately 384,000, equivalent to about 92 men for every 100 women. The gap is large enough to become a demographic issue that the Hungarian government cannot ignore. To encourage people to marry and have more children, Hungary has introduced a series of generous financial support policies. One of the most notable policies grants women with 4 children a lifetime exemption from personal income tax. The program was also expanded in 2025 and 2026, first to mothers with 3 children, and then to women with 2 children. Number 9. Moldova is one of the countries with the most notable rates of population decline on the list. In 1996, the country had about 4.3 million people, but by 2025, its population had fallen to only around 2.3 million. In nearly 3 decades, Moldova lost almost half of its population. Each year, about 35,000 to 40,000 people continue to leave the country in search of work and a more stable future abroad. More than 1 million Moldovan citizens currently live or work outside the country, equivalent to nearly 1/4 of the national population. The money they send home exceeds $2 billion per year and accounts for about 12.3% of the total economy. This shows that Moldova depends heavily on money sent by migrant workers. However, behind these remittances are separated families and many communities with fewer and fewer working-age residents. What is notable is that most of the people leaving Moldova are men. About 2/3 of migrant workers are male. This prolonged departure has caused women to make up about 54% of the population, placing Moldova among the countries with the highest proportions of women in the world. In many villages, this imbalance does not appear only in statistics. It is visible in the empty chairs at the dinner table and in the image of wives caring for children, managing households, and waiting for their husbands to return after months of working abroad. Many grandmothers have to raise their grandchildren in place of the parents, while working-age men appear only through phone calls on weekends. On some streets, most men almost exist only as voices calling from a distant country. Moldovan women have therefore become accustomed to managing farms, families, and many responsibilities that are normally shared by both sexes. Number 8. Ukraine. Ukraine is one of the most unusual and tragic cases on the list. The country has about 87 men for every 100 women, meaning women outnumber men by approximately 72 million. Women make up about 53.4% of the population. However, Ukraine's gender imbalance is not caused only by life expectancy or labor migration trends, as in many other countries, but has also been profoundly reshaped by the war since 2022. About 8 million people are believed to have left Ukraine since the conflict began, creating the largest wave of refugees in Europe since World War II. Most of those who left were women and children, because men between the ages of 18 and 60 were generally required to remain in the country. This created an unusual demographic paradox. Within Ukraine, women already outnumbered men, while large communities of Ukrainian women with very few Ukrainian men appeared in cities across Poland, Germany, and the Czech Republic. The same war has caused the imbalance to unfold in 2 directions. Within the country, many families are missing a husband, father, or son. Beyond the border, millions of women have had to begin new lives in unfamiliar places, raise their children on their own, and adapt to different environments wherever they are. Behind these numbers is still the image of a loved one who is absent. Number 7. Russia. Russia has the largest absolute gap between women and men on the list. The country currently has about 68 million men, while the number of women is nearly 10 million higher. What is notable is that this imbalance does not appear at birth. The ratio of boys to girls born in Russia remains relatively normal, but the gap begins to widen very early as the population enters adulthood. From around age 30, Russian women already begin to outnumber men. By age 60, the ratio can reach 2 women for every man. To understand how unusual this is, in Japan, women generally begin to outnumber men around age 56, while in Russia, this shift occurs more than 2 decades earlier. As a result, many Russian women live in a society where the number of men their age declines rapidly over time. One of the most important causes is the low life expectancy of men. For many decades, alcohol consumption in Russia reached about 4 plentzes, 8 gallons of pure alcohol per adult each year. In addition, working-age men have a death rate from cardiovascular disease about 3 times higher than women. Smoking, unhealthy lifestyles, and the belief that strong men do not need medical checkups also cause many health problems to be detected too late. Number 6. Armenia. Armenia is a small country located in the Caucasus, where women make up about 53.6% of the population. For every 100 women in Armenia, there are only about 87 men, placing the country among those with the highest proportions of women in the world. However, Armenian men have not completely disappeared from the population. Many of them live and work in Russia, the United States, and other countries in search of better income and opportunities for advancement. The migration wave is heavily concentrated among working-age men. About 60% of Armenian migrants are believed to be men between the ages of 20 and 44. This is also the age group that plays an important role in the labor market, family life, and marriage. When a large portion of young men leave their homeland, the women who remain not only outnumber them, but must also take on more responsibilities within their families and communities. This gap becomes even more notable because the Armenian population living abroad is now believed to be larger than the population living within the country itself. Armenian women are portrayed as having a classic, strong, and highly distinctive beauty. They often have thick, glossy, dark hair, sometimes so black that it reflects a bluish tint under the light. Their large, almond-shaped eyes are dark brown or nearly black, highlighted by long eyelashes and naturally arched eyebrows. Their warm olive skin, combined with a well-defined nose and strong facial features, creates a beauty that is both captivating and dignified. In the capital, Yerevan, these features often appear naturally, without the need for heavy makeup. Gold jewelry passed down through generations further enhances the presence of women raised in an ancient culture. Armenia was the first country to officially adopt Christianity in the year 301, so faith and tradition continue to play an important role in family life. Women raised in this environment often value family, commitment, and long-term relationships. Armenia, therefore, is not only the story of a country where women outnumber men, it is also a story of labor migration, families living far apart, and women quietly preserving their homes, faith, and national identity, while many men must leave their homeland to earn a living. Number 5. Georgia. Georgia is a small country in the Caucasus, where women make up about 53% of the population. For every 100 women, there are only about 87 to 92 men, depending on the year of the statistics. This imbalance is caused not only by differences in life expectancy, but is also closely connected to labor migration. Hundreds of thousands of Georgian men have left their homeland to work in other countries, while difficult living conditions have also reduced the life expectancy of some of the men who remain. When many working-age men leave, women become an important force in sustaining families and communities. They care for children, manage households, continue their daily work, and preserve traditions that have existed for centuries. Therefore, behind the higher proportion of women than men are not only dry statistics, but also the image of families living apart and chairs frequently left empty at the dinner table. Georgian women are described as having a beauty marked by striking contrast. They often have raven black hair that stands out against fair, radiant skin. Their deep-set eyes may be dark brown, hazel, or sea green. Strong eyebrows, high-bridged noses, and an upright posture create a presence that is both dignified and captivating. This beauty is further enriched by the country's tradition of polyphonic music and centuries-old folk dances. In the Kartuli dance, a Georgian woman moves gracefully, as if gliding across the water. Each slow step, upright posture, and fluid movement expresses elegance, modesty, and quiet confidence. This is not only an artistic performance but also a reflection of how Georgian culture views women's beauty and character. However, perhaps the most distinctive aspect of Georgia lies in how its people respond to absence. When a chair at the family table is left empty because a loved one has gone abroad for work, they often respond by extending the table and inviting more guests. The traditional supra feast is at the heart of Georgian social life. During these gatherings, the toastmaster continuously raises toasts, transforming an ordinary meal into an emotional storytelling experience. A supra table usually features khachapuri, Georgia's famous cheese-topped or cheese-filled bread, along with many dishes served continuously. Number 4. El Salvador. El Salvador is a clear example of how migration can reshape the gender structure of an entire country. It has about 3.34 million women and 3.02 million men. This means that for every 100 women in El Salvador, there are only about 90 men. However, those men have not completely disappeared. Most of them have left their homeland in search of work and better opportunities, especially in the United States. What is notable is that within the Salvadoran community living in the United States, the gender ratio is completely reversed. For every 100 Salvadoran women there are about 107 men. The contrast between these two figures clearly reflects the pattern of migration. Women outnumber men in their homeland, while men are more numerous at the destination. In other words, the shortage of men in El Salvador is not mainly caused by life expectancy or war, but by the large number of working-age men who have moved abroad to live and work. When men leave, the women who remain must take on more family responsibilities. They care for children, manage households, continue working, and maintain connections with relatives living thousands of miles away. Behind the money sent home are families forced to live apart for long periods, wives waiting for their husbands to return, and children growing up with fathers who mainly appear through phone calls. Salvadoran women have the warm beauty characteristic of the Pacific coast. They often have sun-kissed caramel skin that remains radiant in the year-round tropical climate. Their hair is thick, black, and usually worn naturally long, paired with deep, expressive brown eyes. A broad, friendly smile is considered a distinctive part of the way they communicate. Women here are often petite, with soft features and an approachable beauty that does not feel distant. During traditional festivals, flowers worn in their hair further highlight the femininity and cheerful spirit of Salvadoran women. They have an open, simple, and vibrant beauty, shaped by a country that has endured many difficult periods. Number 3. Nepal. Nepal is a country located among the highest mountain ranges in the world, but behind that majestic landscape lies a social reality that few visitors notice. Women make up about 51% of Nepal's population, equivalent to nearly 96 men for every 100 women. However, this figure does not fully reflect the absence of men from daily life, because more than 1.3 million Nepalese men are currently working in Gulf countries such as Qatar, the United Arab Emirates, and Saudi Arabia. These men have not disappeared from Nepal's population, but they are living about 2,500 miles away from their families. Many must leave their homeland for long periods to work at construction sites, factories, or in the service industry. The money they send home becomes an important source of support for their families. More than half of Nepalese households depend on remittances, while income from overseas workers is equivalent to about 28.6% of the national economy, several times higher than the global average. Behind that money lies a major sacrifice. In mountain villages, women often have to take over nearly all household and agricultural work in place of their husbands. They manage shops, care for farms, transport food, raise children, and support elderly parents. The husband may sometimes be present only through a weekend phone call and may be able to return home only a few times a year. The meal is still prepared, and the chair remains beside the table, but most of the time it stays empty. The familiar dish of dal bhat may be prepared by the wife as she waits for the day her husband returns. This image shows that the absence of men in Nepal is not simply a demographic ratio, but a prolonged experience in the lives of millions of women. The beauty of Nepalese women resembles the Himalayas themselves: diverse, layered, and natural. Nepal has more than 100 ethnic groups, so women's appearances vary from region to region. In the mountains, they often have golden brown skin, high cheekbones, and slightly upturned eyes. In the south, South Asian features are more pronounced, with large, deep, dark eyes. Common features include glossy black hair, sometimes braided with red ribbons, a red tika on the forehead, and colorful saris worn during festivals. Mountain life gives many women strong physiques, calloused hands, and powerful postures. Their beauty is inseparable from labor, responsibility, and perseverance. Number 2. Vietnam. Vietnam is a country where the gender gap is not as large as in many others on the list. Women make up about 56% of the population. This ratio is especially notable in some cities, where many men leave their hometowns to work abroad under labor contracts or take on high-risk jobs in areas far from home. Therefore, although the imbalance is not very pronounced nationwide, women commonly play important roles in both family life and the economy. Vietnamese women have a soft, graceful beauty with distinctive Southeast Asian features. They often have smooth skin, ranging from fair to honey-toned, carefully protected from the sun. Their straight, glossy black hair is usually worn past the shoulders, creating a gentle, natural appearance. Their petite, well-proportioned figures and delicate facial features become even more striking when paired with the traditional ao dai. The ao dai gently hugs the body, creating soft lines while remaining modest and elegant. In an ao dai, even an ordinary step can become as graceful as a performance. Almond-shaped eyes, delicate facial features, and a soft voice help create a feminine image. However, behind that appearance are remarkable strength and diligence. Vietnamese women may wake up early in the morning to open their stalls, work at businesses during the day, and then return home to care for their families in the evening. They take part in the workforce while also managing household expenses, raising children, and maintaining relationships between generations. Therefore, the qualities often associated with them are diligence, devotion, strong family values, and a high sense of responsibility. The appeal of Vietnamese cuisine lies in dishes such as pho, banh mi, and iced coffee with condensed milk, which are known not only for their flavors but also for their relatively affordable prices. A traveler can enjoy many local dishes throughout the day for a total cost of only about $5 to $10. This combination of fresh ingredients, diverse preparation methods, and reasonable prices has helped make Vietnam an attractive culinary destination. Number 1. Finland. Finland is the most distinctive case on the list, because women there are not primarily single due to male migration, war, or population decline. Finnish men are still there, in quiet cities, beside lakes, and in familiar saunas. However, more and more women are choosing to live alone because they are highly educated, have stable incomes, and are able to make their own life decisions without depending on marriage. About 27% of adult women in Finland live completely alone. In some towns, single-person households are no longer uncommon but have become a common way of life. Helsinki alone has about 163,000 homes occupied by just one person. The figures also show that if current trends continue, only about half of unmarried women may marry before the age of 50. In 2008, however, that rate was about 76%. The number of marriages held each year has also fallen to its lowest level in more than a century. This shows that attitudes toward family and marriage in Finland are changing profoundly. For many women, marriage is no longer seen as a mandatory goal or a measure of a successful life. They can study, work, own a home, travel, and build their own lives without needing a man to provide financial security. Finnish women are described as having a natural Nordic beauty. They often have blonde hair ranging from platinum to honey-colored, blue or light gray eyes, and fair skin. Their style does not emphasize elaborate looks, heavy makeup, or efforts to attract attention. A nearly natural face, a simple sweater, and a calm demeanor can create a distinctly Finnish beauty. This independence is also connected to the spirit of sisu, a concept that represents determination, perseverance, and inner strength. Finnish women are among the most highly educated, financially independent, and enjoy a high level of equality. Therefore, many are single not because they lack opportunities, but because they have not yet found a relationship better than their current lives.